everyone, welcome to my channel Aqualuna73. There is a fan, it's very hot. I did a video last night, so this is the introduction. I did the video last night. I deleted the video because there were some things that I wouldn't say, no, there were some things that I wanted to re-explain, okay, and I didn't feel it was very good, the video. So I decided, okay, I'm going to delete that video because I want people to understand me very well. So I went to go back to my studies and I went to go research some more so that I can speak to you about accurate stuff. Okay, that being said, let's continue. You know, the video that I'm about to make is about the psychology of the Bible, okay, and where it fits into us as divine females. I see that in the post that I made about the video, about the specific video, I said I noticed ever since I came on this specific platform to do tarot on YouTube, I've noticed that there are divine females or just in general tarot readers that have an issue accepting the fact that tarot is divination, and they know tarot is in the Bible is considered as abomination in God's eyes. Okay, so there is scriptures in the Bible that speaks out against divination. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. Okay, I'm not here to convince you of anything or to condone anything or to tell you to not believe in scriptures or do believe in scriptures. This is not what this video is for. This video is solely for information purposes, to give you almost like a map, okay, a type of a map to navigate. You on the other hand, if you are interested in understanding your psychology as a human, why you do what you do, your beliefs, where it stems from, etc., I suggest you study a lot of psychology, you study a lot of history, etc. Okay, I don't want to digress. So okay, let's see, what is the first thing? I made notes here. So I just finished with the intro. Okay, so I really want to do this correctly. I felt yesterday's video wasn't the way I wanted it to be. So the first thing is your personal beliefs. This is the first point. Your personal beliefs. Our personal beliefs, I firmly believe, is really, if you grow up, they are your peers, your parents, brothers, sisters, teachers, professors, people that you interact with that leave a mark on you as an individual. And usually most of our beliefs and things that we believe in, things that we do, our principles is based on accumulation of information or principles or beliefs that was passed on from other people to us, like our parents, our grandparents, etc., and theirs was passed on to them. Okay, so it's a generational thing that gets passed on from generation to generation, like traditions. Okay, many would consider us, if they belong to a specific church, they would consider that and all of the family belong to that specific church, they will consider that as, some of them would consider that as a tradition. Okay, so our beliefs stem, like I said, from the way we were brought up, how we were brought up, the principles, values, etc., that were instilled in us since we were children, and then our we build our world basically, or our own belief system around us. Okay, So what are the dangers of doing something like this? The dangers of building your belief system solely on what your parents taught you, what your peers taught you, your teachers taught you, is bordering on ignorance, because it doesn't allow you to broaden your perspective. It doesn't allow you to grow. It doesn't allow you to develop your own individuality. And it doesn't mean that if you start to question things that you're rebellious. It just means that you are someone who is able to not be swayed easily, okay, but by other people's opinions and their beliefs. It means you're strong in your own convictions and you can think for yourself, okay, which is very important, okay, as an individual. Because if you look at the world, it's like I shared a meme earlier in the week of a granny standing with a gun, and she was standing with a gun and she was standing like this. And in the caption I said, my grandmother and mother taught me that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. So you have to have a certain set of personal principles or beliefs that you adhere to, but it does not have to be something that was passed on to you from your parents. You can create it yourself, okay? As long as your personal principles and beliefs are not harmful to other people or yourself or other living beings for that matter, okay? This is where being self-sovereign comes in. You have the ability to control yourself, your urges, your basically yourself as a human, okay, your animalistic instincts as a human, okay. So the dangers of personal beliefs that was passed on is ignorance, like I said, okay, is people that at the end of the day don't want to grow, okay, and this keeps you stuck in a certain mental perspective, okay. So that was personal beliefs and the dangers. Second on the list is, now we're going to talk about what is hermetics, okay, and I have my tablet here. We're going to do number 2, what is hermetics. Number 3, what is the Kybalion or Kybalion, who wrote it, what is it about, and the principles of hermetics. Now you ask yourself, what does this got to do with me as an individual, as a divine female? We're going to get to that, okay? We're going to get to all of that. Just give me a chance. I have my tablet here. I just want to open the tabs. I want to tell you, okay, what, okay, so the Kybalion was originally written in the early 1900s and is now in the public domain. A priceless gem, they say it is. This concise work concentrates on 7 universal principles or laws, okay? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, okay? It's considered as sacred knowledge, okay? Okay, so do the Hermetics believe in God? Both Hermetics and Gnostics utilize negative theology to describe God. The Hermetics posit that God is knowable, at least in some small way, via the noun. No, I'm not going to read this because I don't understand. Okay, now I'm going to not read that. Let's leave that. Okay, so basically what it says here, Hermetics and Gnostics have a different perspective of God. I wouldn't say, they say yeah, Hermetics have a negative theology. No, I wouldn't say Hermetics have a negative theology about God. I would say they have a realistic reality of God, because they see God as knowable, which means God knows good and bad. Okay, even the Bible speaks of this. If you look in the Bible, there are certain passages in the Bible that says that God created evil and good. Okay, so if you see it from that perspective, you will know that God, if he's an all-knowing God, he knows both sides of the coin, basically, okay? It doesn't mean he's negative, it just means he has knowledge of this. Okay, so I told you what the Kabbalion is. Who wrote it? Okay, who wrote the Kabbalion? Oh, I can't remember. Just hold on. Okay. William Walker Atkinson wrote the Kabbalion anonymously. He printed it in 1908 under, I don't know if this is a pseudonym, but the Three Initiates. It is believed by many that the Kabbalion was authored by William Walker Atkinson, either alone or with others. Atkinson was known to use many pseudonyms and to self-publish his works. So the Kabbalion is basically an outline of Hermetic text. Okay, where he basically explains these things, etc. So they believe Hermetism was something that predated Christianity, and a lot of Christianity's beliefs or stuff like that was derived from Hermetic texts. Okay. The other thing I also want to mention is okay, just hold on a second. The Hermetic texts, okay. I don't know if Hermes, what is his Trismegistus? Hermes Trismegistus was a Greek. I don't know if he was a Greek philosopher or who he was, but they deified him and they placed him next to the likes of God, the god Thoth, which was the god of knowledge, wisdom, writings and teachings and stuff like that. So alchemy and explaining the universal laws and stuff like that. Okay. So the emerald tablets of Thoth is also Hermetic texts. So I don't know if Thoth was this Trismegistus guy or vice versa. Okay, I have no idea. This is why I'm telling you, I'm trying to give you guidance, but I cannot tell you which is which, because there's a lot of stuff in history that is unclear. This is why you cannot just concentrate on getting your information in one specific book, which is the Bible. Okay, like I said, Hermetics or the Bible, Christianity for that matter, is and Islam is fairly new religions which were derived from other places. Okay, I also mentioned in the previous video about Aquarius, um, was a pseudonym of a woman. She studied 25 years. She studied theology and she studied religions of the world. And the name of the book was The Christ Conspiracy. So in this book, she also explains that Islam and Christianity basically are religions that were derived from other older, or the belief systems or the outline or the blueprint or whatever you want to call it. Okay, is they took basically the principles of Hermetics, they took the principles of the emerald tablets and they applied it into the Christian religion and the Islamic religion. Okay. Okay, you can get the emerald tablets everywhere. I don't know if they are free PDFs. I don't know where to tell you. You can go look it up yourself, or you can buy the book. Okay. Okay, Thoth was an Egyptian god, and Trismegistus was a Greek a Greek academic. Okay. I want to read your passage now. Okay. I'm going to read you a passage that I found in Quora, which is like an educational page where people can ask questions and people will answer. That's academics, etc. So I found this, okay, on Quora. Who was Hermes Trismegistus really, and why do people believe he existed at all when no one has ever seen his writings before now, or so we think. Okay, so the emerald, then the person answers, the emerald tablet by Hermes Trismegistus. See, I told you, they were likened him to the god of Thoth. So I don't know if this person was real, or if he was the god of Thoth, or vice versa, or if he was a human being and they deified him. I don't know. Okay, it says here, okay, this is um, a passage from the Emerald Tablets, okay, by Hermes Trismegistus, or in between brackets, Thoth. It is true, no lie, certain and to be depended upon. The superior agrees with the inferior, and the inferior agrees with the superior, to effect that one truly wonderful work. As all things owe their existence to the will of the only one, so all things owe their origin to the one only thing, the most hidden by the arrangement of the only God. The father of that one only thing is the sun. Its mother is the moon. The wind carries it in its belly, but its nurse is a spirituous earth. That one only thing is the father of all things in the universe. Its power remains perfect. Sorry, I have to drink some water. Okay, its power, one only thing is the father of all things in the universe. Its power remains perfect after it has been united with the spirituous earth. Separate that spirituous earth from the depths of crude by means of a gentle heat with much attention. In great measure ascends from the earth up to heaven and descends again, newborn on the earth, and superior and the inferior are increased in power. By this wilt thou partake the glory of the whole world, and darkness will flee from thee. This is the strength of all powers. With this thou wilt be able to overcome all things, and transmute all what is fine and what is coarse. In this manner the world was created. The arrangements to follow this road are hidden. Okay. For this reason I am called Hermes Trismegistus, one in essence but three in aspect. Here we talk about the Holy Trinity. Okay. In this Trinity is hidden the wisdom of the whole world. Okay, it is ended now what I have said concerning the effects of the sun. Okay, I'm not going to go into this. I'm not going to explain this to you. I understand it. It's your responsibility to go understand it for yourself. There is a quote. I wouldn't say it's a quote, but many people believe you have to read the Emerald text at least 100 times to understand it very well. Hermes Trismegistus was the author of the Divine Pomander and some other books, lived sometime before Moses. He received the name of Trismegistus or Mercurius ter Maximus, i.e. thrice greatest intelligencer, because he was the first intelligencer who communicated celestial and divine knowledge to mankind by writing. Who also did this? The god of Thoth. Okay. He was reported to have been king of Egypt. The god of Thoth was also. Without doubt he was Egyptian. Nay, if you believe the Jews, even their Moses. And for the justification of this they urge, first his being well skilled in chemistry. Nay, the first who communicated that art to the sons of men. They urged the philosophical work of rendering gold medicinal, or finally of the art of making aurum potable, and thirdly of teaching the Kabbalah, which they say was shown him by God on Mount Sinai. For all this is confessed to be originally written in Hebrew, which he would not have done had he not been an Hebrew, but rather in his vernacular tongue. But whether he was Moses or not, it is certain he was an Egyptian, even as Moses himself also was. And therefore, for the age he lived in, we shall not fall short of the time if we conclude he flourished much about the time of Moses, and if he really was not the identical Moses, affirmed to be so by many. It is more than probable that he was the king of Egypt. Okay. Do you see where the confusion comes in? And now you can read the Bible and they tell you that the Egyptians and the Israelites were separate. Okay, you need to really go deep into these things. Okay, what else is there? Where did I stop now? For being chief philosopher, he was, according to the Egyptian custom, initiated into the mysteries of priesthood, and from thence to the chief governor or king. He was called Ter Maximus, as having a perfect knowledge of all things contained in the world, as his Aureus or golden tractate and his divine commander shows. How do you say this word? Shews. Which things he divided into 3 kingdoms, which is animal, vegetable, and mineral, in the knowledge and comprehension of which 3 he excelled, and transmitted to posterity in enigmas and symbols, the profound secrets of nature. Likewise, a true description of the philosopher's quintessence or universal elixir, which he made as the receptacle of all celestial and terrestrial virtues. The great secrets of the philosophers he discoursed on, which was found engraven upon a smaragdine table in the valley of Hebron, which was the Emerald Table. Quoted from the Magus by Francis Barrett, London, 1801. Okay, so your responsibility is to actually go study deeper into this. Okay, I'm not going even according to number 1, number 2. We now know what hermetics is, the Caparian, who wrote it, what it's about. Okay, so we're going to concentrate on the principles of the hermetics, which is this person that wrote it, okay, or this god of, or whoever this individual is. I just told you he predated Christ. And obviously a lot of the Christianic teachings were derived from this, like I told you. So it is your responsibility as an individual to actually not blindly follow certain beliefs, because it could be detrimental to your faith. It could be detrimental to your mental health, to your growth as an individual. Okay, so we're going to concentrate now on the principles of hermetics. Okay, the principles of hermetics is mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Mentalism is basically, if the principles of hermetics speaks of mentalism, it speaks of that everything that we see in this world, physically, non-physically, is created by the mind. Okay, by our own mental mind. The only example that I can think of it that's very good is the movie The Matrix, which explains this very well. Okay, then you have the correspondence. I'm not going to go into everything. Okay, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Polarity, we all know, is, I'm just going to touch on certain ones. Polarity is opposites. Okay, rhythm is basically, the law of rhythm basically concentrates on everything is seasonal. And yesterday in the video I explained, if everything is seasonal, it means whatever happened to you before is going to happen again. Because what do you see about seasons, okay, or things that happen? Even in the world, there's always this repetitive pattern of things. It's, okay, how can I explain this? There's this quote, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Okay? So basically what it implies is the world changes, but it actually doesn't. I don't know if you understand where I'm going with this. This is where the law of rhythm comes in. Seasons speak of this. Every year you get autumn, the leaves fall off, the trees are empty, it's barren, snow falls on the ground, the trees, the leaves die, the next spring, these new life, new sprouts, etc. Okay, this is the way our lives are too. So everything is cyclical, everything happens on a continuous basis, and if it's cyclical, it means it's like a circle, it continues, or a loop. It's going to happen over and over. But the difference is in the law of rhythm, if you apply it to you on a personal level, even though a thing might reoccur to you, like for instance, you had an experience with a group of individuals that wasn't very pleasant. Okay, now you learned lessons from this. Now you encounter another group of individuals, but at this time when you experience the same thing again, it's going to be different, and you're going to handle it differently because you learned from the previous experience. This is what the law of rhythm speaks about the cyclical changes. The law of vibration speaks about just what it is. Okay, everybody and every plant, animal, thing in this world, even us as humans, we run on different levels and frequencies of vibration. Okay, this is why, probably, if you can make an example, say for instance you meet an individual, you cannot, maybe there's something that repels you about this person. It means that you're not on the same vibration as this individual. Okay, I told you what polarity is called. Okay, if you look at cause and effect and gender, cause and effect basically speaks on what you sow, you shall reap. Okay, and I already said this in a reading, in a video. Don't look at it from a bad perspective. Even if you sow good things will happen to you. Okay, this is what cause and effect speaks about. Gender speaks about male and female. So this is also one of the principles of hermetics, is that there are two genders. Okay. Okay, let me see the correspondence, law of correspondence. I can't remember what this. Law of correspondence. Okay, the law of correspondence proves that what you think and feel in your conscious and subconscious mind is what you create on the outside. Okay, so if you're constantly going to be negative or whatever, or if you're a positive person, you're obviously going to attract. But for us as humans, it varies. Okay, it definitely varies. Okay, I'm not going to go here. It's just okay. So now you know what the what the laws of mentalism, etc. is, and the principles. Okay, so what's next? I wanted to talk about something else. Can you just hold on a second? I just want to check something here, because I wanted to talk about something else. What else is there? Oh yes, before I forget. Okay, so I haven't started yet explaining. Now that you know all about the laws of hermetics, you ask yourself, how does this apply to me as a divine female, and where does it correlate with what you talked about in the video, I mean in the post about witches, that all divine females are also witches. Okay, so if you, I don't have my Bible here right now, but there is a story in one of the scriptures in the Bible where they speak about the witch of Endor. Okay, so the witch of Endor was a woman that lived outside of the town where, or city of King Saul in the Bible. King Saul was at war with the Philistines. He consulted God and priests, asking them how this war was going to be resolved or if he was going to win the war, but he didn't receive any answers. But in the same breath, Saul was also already in God's bad books, basically, because there were certain things about him that God was already unhappy about, especially seeing that he also wanted to kill David, okay, which was the person that eventually took over from Saul, King David, okay. Okay, that being said, when Saul didn't get any answers from God or the priests, he went to in secret at night. He went out of town to look for this witch of Endor. While he obviously inquired, and everybody told him, okay, outside of the city there's a witch, you can go ask her. Which he did, and he disguised himself. When he arrived at this woman's house where she lived, he requested for her to basically wake up the prophet Samuel from the dead, so that he can ask the prophet Samuel whether he was going to win the war. First of all, the Bible, it says in the Bible this woman didn't want to do it, but he reassured her that nothing was going to happen to her if she did. Okay, after I made the video last night, I found an article of about a woman that wrote a book about vixens, or women that were vilified basically in the Bible. Okay, and one of the women that she mentioned was the witch of Endor. Okay, and she spoke against patriarchy, because most of the stuff in the Bible, there's a lot of things that shows us in the Bible that the Bible is not very I wouldn't say lenient, that's not the correct word. What is the correct word? I want to say nice. The Bible's not very nice to females, to be honest, when it comes to the rights of women. Okay, because there's a lot of things in the Bible that I don't agree with and that I don't like. Okay, it doesn't mean I don't believe in God, it just means there's some things that I disagree with. Okay, and I have the right to disagree, because in my opinion, if God is omnipotent, if God is all-knowing, God won't, and if God is a being that is outside of his ego, he won't be bothered by the fact that you ask questions. Okay, these information that I just gave you was always there. It's your responsibility to go study, to understand, and to develop a greater understanding of the cosmos, of God, the concept of God, how it was created, etc., so that you can make more discerning judgment about your own personal beliefs. Okay, so anyway, she conjured up this entity, and she was just as astounded when this entity arrived, which means they say in the Bible she was shocked because it wasn't who she expected. Okay, and this being, whether it was Samuel or not, I don't know, but this being spoke to Saul, and he said to Saul, what do you want? You disturb my sleep. And he explained what he wanted from this being. And this being Satan was angry and said, okay, you disturbed my sleep. This is what's going to happen. And he predicted that Saul was going to die in the war, and that um, he was going to lose the war against the Philistines. Okay. After this happened, the woman, according to the Bible, made a meal for Saul. He ate and he left. In the passage in the Bible, I cannot remember if he refused the meal, but according to this person who countered this article of the vixen article that this woman wrote about vixens in the Bible, that, or women in the Bible that were vilified, basically. How can I explain this to you? Well, basically, it was a counter attack on his part. We said she only concentrated on the fact that they were that women were oppressed by the patriarchy, but there is so much more into, which is I agree with. There's so much more in the scriptures than to just concentrate on the fact that women were oppressed. But it's not something to be diminished and treated as if it's nothing, okay? Because at the end of the day, this person, whoever this person is, which obviously was a scholar, if you look at it, things from a personal perspective and put your heart in there, instead of looking at it from an academic perspective, people were affected, okay? Lives were affected by certain specific sets of beliefs that certain people had, and other people suffered because of this, okay? So to just dismiss this is not okay. So that being said, what else? The witch of Endor, according to in my opinion, they didn't speak out against in the specific witch. What I do know in the Bible is they speak against divination, but I went to go research a little deeper into this witch of Endor, and the other term, or the Greek Septuagint, referred to the witch of Endor as an oracle, okay, the oracle of Pythia. And all know that you get the King James Version Bible, which was written by King James of Scotland. And if you don't know, you will know now that he didn't only write the King James Version Bible that we know today. Okay, he also wrote a book, or a set of books. I don't know if it's one book, but I know it's a set of books, which was about demonology and black magic. The same person that wrote the King James Version Bible, which was King James, wrote a book about demonology and black magic. Okay. And it baffles me that especially ministers and pastors in churches don't mention this to people, and they use this Bible. I'm not saying this man worshiped demons as such, but he actually wrote it to this demonology books. He wrote it in correspondence of another author who wrote about witchcraft. And actually in this book he wanted to display that witchcraft or oracles was something that wasn't born out of Christianity or born out of whatever. It was always there, okay? It was always it predated a lot of things, basically. So even Christianity, for that matter. So he likened this, okay, Erdon, is it Erdon? The witch of, what did I say? What was the witch? Anyway, if you look up the magic, I will look up the magic. Look up the name. Okay, let me Endor. The name Endor. Just hold on. Witch of Endor. Okay, the witch of Endor is mentioned in the King James Version. 1 Samuel 28, verse 7 to 39, I think. Then Saul said to his servant, seek out for me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a medium at Endor. The Lord has turned away from Saul. And okay. So King James referred to this witch as the oracle of Pythia. Okay. He also referred to this Endor witch. Now let's go see what is the oracle of Pythia. The oracle of Pythia was the name of the high priestess of the temple of Apollo at Delphi. Okay, she specifically served as its oracle and was known as the Oracle of Delphi. Her title was also historically glossed in English as the Pythoness. Okay. And then they say, who are the five oracles? The five oracles are the Oracle of Dodona, the Oracle of Trophonius, the Oracle of Erythia, the Oracle of Cumae, and the Oracle of Delphi. Okay, so there were several. Who was the most powerful oracle? The Python priestess. The Python priestess emerged preeminent by the end of the 7th century BC. Please, BC, and continued to be consulted until the late 4th century AD. During this period, the Delphic oracle was the most prestigious and authoritative oracle among the Greeks, and she was among the most powerful women of the classical world. Now I talk about the Pythoness. Then there is the story. I don't know how much truth is in there, but there is no evidence for this. These oracles were also known as the Sibyls. Okay. And when they talk about the Sibyls were not, these oracles were not white women. They were not Caucasian women. They were black. Okay. So technically speaking, the witch of Endor was a black woman from Africa. Okay. She wasn't from Greek. And according to history, these Sibyls traveled to Europe, where they consulted with kings and advised kings on wars, economics in their countries, etc., because they could communicate with the divine as like they were a direct link, I would say, to the divine and to God. Okay. Why these oracles? There was a lot of people that also believed, if this is true, I do not know, that these oracles were the ones that were actually persecuted, okay, and not the Christians in the early stages of the Bible, where the Christians were persecuted, okay, where Paul persecuted the Christians, okay, or not Paul, but the Christians were persecuted and hunted in the Bible and killed because of their beliefs. That is in the early stages of Christianity. But they say as time progressed and people started to learn more about the subject, they speculated, and if this is true, that these women were the ones that were killed, okay, and hunted down, not the Christians, because of the knowledge that they had, the direct link to the divine, and the fact that they, I think, if you go back into history and say, for instance, let's create a scenario or a story here. This Sibyls, okay, in some cultures, like in the Mediterranean and African culture, is also known as Mamawati, okay, because if you look at pictures of Mamawati, she has a snake around her neck and she is half woman, half fish, okay? You also get male characters, okay, that, I don't know what you call them, Wata, male character, but anyway, she had a snake around her neck, so something tells me that during a period in our history, there was a lot of people that took information and distorted this information to suit their own agendas. This is why not even I can give you accurate information about things. Okay, so if you go read the Bible and if you go read other scholarly stuff where you can go to Academia EU, or there is a lot of academic pages where you can actually pay and download these things, okay, so that you can study it for yourself. So this indicates to me that at some stage there were a group of people, specifically male individuals, that wanted to control a narrative to suit their own personal hidden agendas. Okay, they wanted to control people, they wanted to, greed may have played a role. Okay, if you look into history, why would people psychologically manipulate people through religion? Okay, it's to keep people in a state of dependence, in a state of ignorance, because if you create, or how can I explain this? I had a conversation with my son one day. We have very deep conversations. And he said to me, we had this conversation, we spoke about slavery, etc. And he mentioned this and it made me think a lot, and I agreed with him on this. We said that if you look back into history and slavery, Caucasians created this system, okay, of slavery, where they kept a certain group of people in a perpetual state of slavery in order to advance themselves. So what they needed to do is they needed to dumb down these people, okay. And what they did was they used a book and they indoctrinated certain sets of beliefs in this book into people and made them believe certain things, okay, and used it against them. They used basically these animalistic fears in people, in them, to keep them in a certain state, because these people that did these things, they were knowledgeable, okay, and they knew certain things that other people didn't know. So there's a certain group of people that weren't knowledgeable and a certain group of people that did know certain things, and instead of educating these people about these things, they used this information to their advantage, okay, and rewrote history. Basically, they rewrote the Bible, they rewrote history, and they set certain things in place to control the narrative. And that is just the truth of the matter. This is why we need to be very discerning. Like I said, we have a certain set of belief that was passed on to us from our parents and their parents, and we grow up with this, and we just blindly following like sheep. We don't think for ourselves, we don't reason for ourselves, and this is not good, because it's not an indication of someone that is willing to evolve mentally. So if a person is not willing to evolve mentally, what does that mean? It means the world will constantly stay the same, okay? And then we complain, why does this not change? Why does that not change? It begins with us as individuals, okay? Is this all? Now I'm going to go to the series I spoke about, Monty Python. I mentioned this several times on YouTube, as well as I posted memes about Monty Python. So Monty Python was a series on television. It was banned for a period in South Africa because what it did was it I wouldn't say a lot of people will say it's sensationalized, okay, but it's not sensation. I don't think the idea behind Monty Python was to cause upheaval or sensation. It was to make people stop, startle them, and make them think about things. Because if you are ignorant, you become complacent. A complacent person is someone that accepts everything, okay, and they don't do anything about anything. Okay, so what Monty Python did was they opened the people's eyes to certain aspects of religion. There is the specific set of episodes which was the life of Brian. Okay, so in the life of Brian, Brian was a very, it's comedy. Okay, first of all, it's comedy. Okay, the life of Brian was comedy. I mean, Monty Python is comedy. And isn't it strange that it's called Monty Python, Python as in snake? Just think of it, the play on words there. Pythonese, oracle, okay, etc. So anyway, in life of Brian, he meets these two individuals that were arguing about something. So he advises them, and they look at him and he says, wow, you are wise. Thank you for the advice. And as he goes along, he starts to meet these different people and he advises them. And later on, as time progresses, these people follow him everywhere. Because they, like sheep, they can't think for themselves, and they start to think of him as this guru, as this saint, etc. And he goes home, and his mom asks him, who are these people following you? They say, Mom, they think I'm the Messiah. And she gets angry, and she goes outside, and she tells him, he's not the Messiah. Okay? And the more he tries to tell him, I'm not the Messiah, the more, and he starts to talk sense to them, the more they believe that he is. Okay? So this basically just tells me that there are certain sets of people that are lazy. They don't have the common sense, they don't have the initiative, they don't have the desire. I would say the desire to change. They don't have the will to change, okay? And obviously these, I just spoke about the law of vibration. These people are the people that are on a lower vibration. They're not going to evolve, okay? I would consider them as karmics, okay? NPCs in a game, etc. There's basically just there like sheep. I'm sorry that I have to use this analogy, but even the Bible speaks about God being the shepherd and we are the sheep. Okay, and this is a concept that I always had a problem with, but because sheep are not capable to think for themselves, okay, and I do understand that certain people don't have the ability to be self-sovereign because they cannot control their animalistic instincts inside of themselves. So there is a reason why there are governments and laws put into place to protect the citizens. But sometimes these laws also create a lot of restrictive things, okay? It is there to protect you, but it also causes restriction in certain things. Okay? So laws are very rigid. So what else is there that I can add? There's nothing more. I think I just talk about the oracle of which of Endor. Okay. So I said Monty Python was basically, this is the last part of the video. Monty Python was basically a type of series that was created to make people think outside of the box. There was another artist, and I'm going to mention her lastly. Okay. There's a lot of people in this world that use art as a form of not only expressing themselves but also expressing ideologies, expressing beliefs, or expressing certain aspects about life that they want people to reconsider, think about, etc. Understand? Okay. So there was this woman, Marina Abramovic. She was a Serbian artist, conceptual and performance artist. Her work explores body art, endurance art, the relationship between the performer and audience, the limits of the body, and the possibilities of the mind. Okay, so she was born on the 30th of November 1946, and she's now 77 years old. So she created a lot of controversy around a specific thing that she did. Okay, now let's go see what this is. I'm going to read to you. I'm not going to explain because I want you to know exactly what she did. Okay, so born in Belgrade, Serbia, pioneering conceptual and performance artist whose work explores body and endurance art. Now I ask yourself, what the hell is body and endurance art? Okay, so she also investigates the relationship between performer and audience, notably by involving the participation of observers to uncover fresh notions, of identity. So what is endurance art, body and endurance art? She did an exhibition. The first one that she did was in her home country. And what she did is she sat in a public place, like I think it was a gallery, art gallery or something. I don't know, I can't remember exactly. But she sat there and there was a table with objects on the table. There were feathers, there were flowers, there was a teddy bear. I think, I can't remember what else there was. There was a gun, a loaded gun. There was a knife. There were torture weapons as well. She told the people who came to this exhibition, you can do to me whatever you want to. Okay. And when they interviewed her after what happened, after this exhibition, they interviewed her and she said she was ready to die that day. She was scared and she was ready to die that day. Okay. A lot of people didn't agree with what she did. I don't know if she was trying to prove a point. I think she was. But she was also, like I said, trying to uncover or help people uncover fresh notions of identity. Maybe to understand themselves on a deeper level. Okay, because we as people, there are certain aspects within ourselves that we're denying, that we need to address within ourselves, especially our shadow. Okay, so when the exhibition was over, this woman was full of bruises. She was cut, she was bleeding and crying. Okay, so there were people that tortured her in this specific exhibition. And when they confronted these individuals, who were mostly male individuals, why they did that, their explanation was, she said she gave us permission to do it. But, and this is a huge but, a person can give you permission to do something, but at the end of the day, that's a lousy excuse because you still have free will. You still have a choice to change your mind and say, okay, you said I can do this, but something inside me tells me, okay, your conscience, do you have a conscience? Is this conscience guiding you to not do something to another individual or harm that person, etc.? Okay, so basically, they lack this. They lack this ability to be self-observant or self-aware, for that matter. Okay, so I don't know, she did something similar in America later in the years in a gallery in New York, and Fox News said that she was trying to cause sensation, but there were a lot of people defending her as to why she was doing this. And one thing that one of the people that supported her mentioned was, how can you say that she wasn't serious, that she was looking for attention? Because she made a lot of, I mean, it caused a lot of sensation, etc. around the world at that time. So basically, while she was doing this thing, okay, this performing arts thing, she dated this man, okay, and this is what this person who supported her said to the public. She dated this man while she was doing this thing. Years later, they decided to break up. Okay, and they decided to use their breakup, the fact that they were separating, also as a performing artist, because he was also a performing artist. So they used their breakup as a performing artist, or as a, what can you say, body endurance art. What they did was, for 6 months, I think they went to the Great Wall of China. Okay, and I don't know if they flew over there for 6 months consecutively or what they did, but all I know is, you see, they went to the Great Wall of China and they approached each other from separate sides of the wall. And for 6 months, consecutive months, they said goodbye to each other. That was part of the ritual of separating. And they did this for 6 months. If this wasn't, and according to this person, if this wasn't devotion to the art, he doesn't know what is. So this was the point that he was trying to make. She was devoted to her art form. She was devoted to the aspect of her art form, to show people that she was willing to make herself even vulnerable. And it takes a very strong person to make yourself that vulnerable. Okay, because during this art exhibition, when she had this art exhibition in New York, a lot of the people that came to sit down there, they didn't pick up any of the torturing or stuff that she put on the table. Okay, I don't know if she did that in America as well. But a lot of the people that interacted with her, they just came to sit there and they started crying. And this is also something that he mentioned, because there is a sense of vulnerability there, where you just stare at a person and this person sees back at you. Okay, and this person makes himself vulnerable. You can do anything to this individual. So these people had a connection with her mentally. Okay, and it brought him to tears. There was this other individual that they had to escort out of the gallery because this person started to undress her. Okay, so a lot of people won't agree with what she did, but I admire the fact that she was willing to do this and make herself vulnerable so that she could prove a point or bring across a specific message to people, okay, or to her audience for that matter. So you can go look up who she is if you want to know more about her. So the concept, I think, is basically the same, just a little more extreme than Monty Python. But there's a lot of artists that do this so that people can be starting to become more self-aware and concerned about our world, okay, so that we can evolve as humans. I don't know what else to add. I hope I'm going to post this video because I don't know what else to add. I think the Bible also, there's a lot of things in the Bible that I don't think females that identify themselves as divinators or tarot readers should feel scared to do this, okay, because, or consider themselves as witches, because this is exactly what you are. If you're a divinator, you are practicing an occultic practice, and which at the end of the day boils down to the fact that you're a witch, okay. So don't deny this, okay. We are not living in a century where they can burn you at the stake. People have to take responsibilities for themselves, their actions, and stop blaming, because this is exactly what they did. If something happened, superstitious things happen, people start to blame other people for things that happened to them. They don't want to take responsibility for their own life. Now shit happens to them and they blame an innocent woman and they kill this woman. Okay, this is what happened during the Dark Ages. Okay, and fear was something that drove people. It still does. And in religion, fear is a huge factor, because fear is used in religion to control people. It's an easy tool to control people. If you want to control an individual, instill fear in them. If you want to control a child, instill fear in them, threaten them. Okay, this is basically what it boils down to. And if we want to evolve as humans, we need to move away from this. So I think certain aspects in the Bible still wanted to box women, because women have this divine connection with the ethers. I don't think this should be the case. Okay, we need to really start to study up on these things and stop being, I think the reason why people don't want to do it is it's basically just fear. I know for a fact a lot of people will watch this video and they will still not. They're just going to watch it. Oh, this is interesting, but then they're going to just leave it there and go on with their lives and not do better or think better or change. But anyway, this is it. I just wanted to educate you regarding this. I don't know what the next video is going to be about, but I'm going to see if I'm going to make the next video. I have to go. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Bye.